This is Cowboy Billy Montana, and you're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This is Steve Bowtie Bryant here. Back in the 90s, I was a pro wrestling photographer for the South, and I released what might have been one of the original sets of indie trading cards. I ran across some of these original sets. They were up in Randall Fanning's attic all this time. PG-13 rookie card, Ricky Morton, George Weingroff as the Sheik, Chris Champion, Reno Riggins, Billy Montana, Gary Valiant, the Scorpion, the Medic, Rick Reynolds, Jeff Daniels, Mephisto and Dante, Ben Jordan, Steve Neely, Marcus Woodrow, Quinton Quarisma, Little Farmer John. If you'd like an opportunity to get these cards, contact me now. You can get them for only $49.99. Contact me at stevebowtiebryant at iCloud.com. Get your set now while supplies last.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
For those who don't know, now you know, baby. This is Hot Rod Biggs, Jared, Jimmy Street. We're going to take them to the limit one more time, baby, right here on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, and I'm here as always with my brother from the same father and mother, Jared Street, the Plastic Sheik. Sheik, did you do it?
I think I did. Did I bring a little charisma with me?
I think you did. That's right. Our territory wrestling guru and co-host with the Mo-host, Quinton Quarisma. Quinton, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing today?
Good. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good, man. Good to have you along.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
Well, y'all ready for a good show today? I think we got a really good one with Cowboy Billy Montana. Very fun.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we're trying to slowly check off that whole Steve Bryant card list, so that's good.
Yeah, well, we're getting there. We're going to eventually try to, right, at least?
Yeah. I'm sure there's some we can't get or won't get, but
yeah, unfortunately.
Their loss.
Right. But, it's cool. Yeah, man, I got to meet Billy. Jared and I got to meet Billy at the Right Way reunion last May. Had a lot of fun at that, and also getting to meet him and then talk to him, through social media and stuff. And he's a cool guy. I'm excited to hear his story. But, unfortunately, there's been some bad news, and we've lost another one of our people. Unfortunately, I didn't know him as well. But, Quinton, do you have anything you'd like to say about Slacker J, Dustin Phillips?
Yeah, it's just sad, man. Another guy from the area, Middle Tennessee area, that's gone. And the last 4 months it's been horrible, man. We've lost Hot Rod. We lost Mark Taylor. We lost Matt
Dillon.
Matt Dillinger. My mind just went blank. I was going to say his shoot name, and I was like, no, I don't want to say his shoot name. Matt Dillinger, then now Slacker J, and it's 4, jeez.
In a really short time,
Yeah.
And
it's awful.
Yeah, I know. And unfortunately, we had planned to get him on the podcast. He actually came out and asked, he was like, man, I'd love to come on your show. And I really am just really, really kicking myself for not having him on. It's like you never know these things are going to happen. Heck, I would have liked to have Mark Gordy on too, but, I even talked to you, Quinton, about doing that. If you remember, you and I discussed bringing Mark on, and then Dustin, got strong ties with Wolfie and, everybody, all of our buddies, Crawl and everybody at the USWO and stuff. And is that where he predominantly worked?
Yeah, pretty much. He worked there, I think, for Porter, but basically, the Middle Tennessee area, for, Tony Porter, I think maybe some for Bert too.
Yeah.
But, actually, first time I ever met him, I was booking Smyrna, and him, Ricky Bell, the referee, and Kid Thrilla, and Slacker come up, and didn't know any of them, and they come and introduced themselves, and I booked Slacker and Thrilla that night to work. They worked each other in a match. That's the first time I ever met them.
Yeah. Grandson to famous musician John Hartford. If you Big Rock Candy Mountain and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, but he has thousands of songs, and people have covered, and he's kind of one of those guys that's almost like a Chris Christopherson, where people covered his songs and had success with them. But good guy from all I could tell. Like I said, I know a lot of like Brian Turner and guys took it pretty hard. And, like I said, I feel bad that I didn't know him. But again, with all the outpouring of love to him and rest in peace and all that, we just send in our condolences to his family. I know his wife, Roxanne, from the New Church, right? She was in Disciples of New Church for a while. Yeah, she had passed away a few years back. So, I just, we send our thoughts and prayers out to the family, and we'll just have y'all in our prayers and hope y'all are doing okay in this time. We are very sorry for your loss, and I just, like I said, I just really hate that we didn't get that interview done, because I think it would have meant a lot to him too, so. Yeah. But anyway, well, thank you for saying that, Quinton. I appreciate that. I say we get right to it, man. We got a big show today with Cowboy Billy Montana. So y'all ready?
Let's go.
I'm ready for it, man.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages with Cowboy Billy Montana on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
This is Kroll, and you're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling with Jimmy Street and Jared the Plastic Sheik. Be sure to like, subscribe, and view all of our USWO and Saw Wrestling content at Nashville Wrestling Network, exclusively on YouTube.
That's right, it's the talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
All right, we are back with more from the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast, and I'm here, as you all know, with the main man, the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street, and our co-host with the mo-host, the Territory Wrestling Guru, Quinton Quarisma. But today, the real reason we are here is our very special guest. As we said it in the intro, we have the one and only Cowboy Billy Montana on the podcast with us today. Billy, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, and I'm glad you mentioned that as being the one and the only Cowboy Billy Montana. I'm doing
Good. We'll get into that in just a little bit, I promise. But so Billy, it's great to have you on. It's been a little while. We get a list put together and we start to work down the list, and your name was next, and we're happy to have you and wish we could have had you sooner, but these things work as they are. But the important part is you're here right now with us today. So thank you very much for coming on with us. And as we always do, we start the show off with the Plastic Sheik's favorite question. Sheik, take it away.
All right, Billy. So first question I like to ask is going to give the audience and us a little bit of know about your influences in wrestling and everything like that. If you had a Mount Rushmore, like 4 or 5 names, influences, people you like to watch, whatever, in wrestling, who would that be?
Well, I started watching wrestling. I started going to it and became fascinated with it 60 years ago. I was 5 years old. And I was seeing greats like Lynn Rossi and Bearcat Brown and Tojo Yamamoto and Jerry Jarrett. And the list goes on and on. Mike Pappas, Ernie Catlad, the Mighty Yankees, the interns. But the most ones that most people would be familiar with this day and time would be my mentor was Barry Windham.
Oh man,
I liked his style. I liked the way he carried himself, and that's kind of how I presented myself. I liked Dusty Rhodes. I liked Ole and Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard.
oh yeah,
For the independent wrestlers, two of my main mentors, they're gone now. It was Lee and Billy Ray Hickerson.
Okay.
Had a lot of good battles with them, Mephisto and Dante.
Oh yeah.
And had good battles with them. And my faces, my brother Ben Jordan, Steve Neely, and I hate to say it, but Chris Kern.
Oh, okay. You ain't got to be. That's not bad. We like old Chris around here. Is he?
Yeah, he's my buddy to be exact.
Yeah.
Me and Chris had a lot of great matches together, and there's one in particular that I'll talk about here later on, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Great list, though. I mean, Barry Windham, love it, and all those guys. Arn Anderson's one of my favorite of all time, so it's a great list.
Yeah, absolutely. Mephisto, Dante, the Hickersons, Ben Jordan, Steve Neely, all great people. Well, I tell you what, since we're talking about other people, let's reverse it and take it back to you here, Billy. So, Billy, tell us a little bit about your younger days, like where you were born, where'd you go to high school, that kind of stuff.
Well, originally I was born in Florence, Alabama, raised up in Tuscumbia, went to Dessler High School, played football, baseball, basketball, and I was on Dessler's first high school wrestling team in 1974.
Nice. Okay.
And I, after graduated high school, worked a few jobs, kept getting laid off, and I finally decided I'd get me a job that I wouldn't get laid off at, and so I joined the military.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
I spent 17 years in service. Started out as a mechanic and ended up as a NBC instructor. I taught nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare.
Oh, man.
Awesome. Wow.
Well, that just diverted the entire conversation of today's show. No, but man, that's cool. And thank you for your service, brother. I definitely wanted to bring that up. I'm glad that you did. You know, we definitely appreciate that, man. Have you, when did you retire from the military?
I didn't get to retire. I got promoted to a staff sergeant, and they come up going to send me to BNOC school, and I've got neuropathy.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't do the PT run, and I needed a profile to do the alternate. And they told me that since I couldn't do the PT run, I couldn't go to BNOC, and if I couldn't go to BNOC, then they didn't need me no more. So I just pat myself on the back, thankful for 17 years, and went on my way.
Yeah. Well, Billy, we definitely appreciate your service, man. We're all about the troops over here for sure, man. That's awesome. Well, so being that you're a military man, but you also know so much about the guys you mentioned in your Mount Rushmore, when was it that you started liking wrestling?
When I was 5.
Yeah. Okay.
My neighbors, they used to take me to wrestling every Thursday. It started out as on Tuesday nights, or it'd go to Thursday nights at the old Florence National Guard Armory on the hill. And that's when I got to watch good matches with Lynn Rossi and Bearcat. They'd fight Saul Weindroff and the Mighty Yankees, or Dr. Ken Ramey and the interns, and it was just all different kinds. And when I first started going, that was when Jerry Jarrett was getting started. He was teaming up with Tojo, and
gotcha. Okay,
it was fun, really fun.
Those are the best days ever of wrestling.
And I told myself then, that's something I'd always like to try to do, is be a professional wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was probably, even while I was working, I was still probably one of the biggest fans.
Yeah.
I love wrestling, whether I was in the ring or out watching or whatever. It was just something supernatural, super nice.
Oh man, that's awesome.
All right, Billy. A question I got is, how'd you get your start in wrestling? Where'd you train? And was it with the Hickersons?
Well, no. I got started after I got out of service, and we built a house out in Center Star, and I was in the rescue unit. And we put on a benefit, a wrestling benefit, to raise money for the unit. And after the matches was over, I got to talking to the promoter, and he's deceased now. But I got talking to him and told him I wanted to get in the business. And so they kind of took me in under their wing there and did some rough training with me and got me started. And next thing I knowed, I wound up at Alvin in Athens, Alabama.
Okay. What year was this?
That was in 90.
Gotcha.
And
so how was your first night at Alvin Wallace's? How was that?
Long, late night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Alvin's is notorious for going to 3 o'clock in the morning down there in Athens, Alabama.
Yeah, and if you showed up to work, it didn't matter what time of the night it was, you going to get to work, and you was going to get a payday. It might not have been but about $1 or $2, but you was going to get a payday.
Yep.
At least you got something, right?
Oh, yeah. I was getting paid to learn. A lot of it I was self-taught. And I mainly just listened. I let whoever I was going against, I let them call the match, because they were a lot more experienced than I was. I was green as green can be, and I just let them call it, and they made me shine like new money.
That's awesome.
Do you remember who your first guy you wrestled in that first match? Do you remember who it was?
My very first match?
Yeah.
Y'all ain't gonna believe this. It was in Iuka, Mississippi, in the little old bitty National Guard Armory building. My first match was against Bullet Bob Armstrong.
Oh man, wow. That's awesome.
He's baby, and I was a heel. I was up under a hood. I was going by the name of Dr. J, and I hit him in the back of the head with a cane. And
wow. That's crazy.
No, yeah, but that was my very first match.
Wow,
that's awesome. Yeah.
And,
a lot of guys thought that you were trained by the Hickersons. So when did you meet the Hickersons, Lee and Billy Ray?
Well, first I met the Angels of Death. I was working at Alvin's, and they were there, and we kind of developed a relationship at Alvin, and they took me under their wing, and we had a lot of good matches together. I took a lot of beatings by them, but it was all good, and the Hickersons actually built me up to Cowboy Billy Montana.
Okay.
Started out as that, and they, I guess they kind of fine-tuned me to their liking, I guess, and they helped me. They picked out the song "Heaven Ain't a Lot Like Dixie," and it just kind of went from there. And if it hadn't been for Lee and Billy Ray, then probably Cowboy Billy Montana would have never been.
Yeah.
I owe a lot to them.
Did they give you that name, or where did that name come from?
That name, I come up with the name, and where I got that name, I knew I needed a name, and so I was watching Kenny Rogers in The Gambler.
Oh, nice, love it.
Guy he met on the train was Billy Montana.
Oh, okay.
That was his running partner in the movie The Gambler.
Gotcha.
My real name, my first name's William, and Billy's short for William, and Montana just kind of felt good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And so obviously you mentioned it earlier about you're the only, the original, whatever like that. You know about Alan Moore, who also wrestled in the same area, right?
Yeah, but our paths never did cross until our last big reunion back in May.
Yeah, yeah. That's what you told me. And I was like, man, this might be the podcast right here. Who's the real Billy Montana? Please stand up, but no, I'm just kidding. I wasn't really going to do that. But anyway, yeah.
I'm the real Cowboy Billy Montana.
That's right. Yeah.
So what, in the early days of your career, who were you mostly the promotions you were working for most time?
Well, like I said, I started working at Alvin's and worked there for a while until I hooked up with Lee and Billy Ray, and then they took me to Columbia, and that's where I met Freddie Morton, and I really enjoyed working with Freddie, and I really enjoyed working with Thurman Dolan, and those two are two of my favorite promoters. Thurman, he's local here, and Freddie, he's up in Columbia. But both of them, they really took good care of me, and I just, I owe them a lot. Everybody that I mentioned, especially on the independent circuit, I owe them.
Yeah.
If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's some great stories about you in Columbia. I've been told a few stories as we've been researching you, trying to get some good questions for you. There's some good stories, but do you have some of your favorite, like, who were some of your opponents you worked while you were there in Columbia?
Well, I worked with Dante, had a lot of good tater matches with Breeze, and I worked Lee and Billy Ray. I worked Mongolia Mauler, had several good bouts with him, and my last match I had up there was against Mr. Tony Falk.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Scorpion, Big Pete, worked him. The Medic, worked him several times, and got to team up with a bunch of good people. Got to team up with Wolfie D, which was our Wolf back at the time.
Yeah.
And I teamed up with Freddie and Harold Cates, and just several different ones. One person that I'd like to mention is pay a little homage to was a guy that they teamed up as my brother.
Okay.
It was they called him Danny Montana.
Oh, okay.
And he his real name was Danny King. And, of course, we lost him a few years ago to suicide, and it really, really bothered me there for a while.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry to hear
we had some really good matches.
Yeah, man, there is a story that I heard that I've got to ask you about Columbia. And there's, somebody, and I want to bring this up in just a minute. There's a story about you leaving in an ambulance one night. But this one sounds epic to me. So it was a loser leaves town match with Lee Hickerson. Okay.
Yep.
And they threw a chain into Lee that was purposefully overthrown, and Marge or Beehive got it and threw it back to Billy. Lee takes the big bump. Billy had wrapped the chain but never hit him. But Lee was on the mat like he did. That's like the old school, Eddie Guerrero spot there. And then the ref DQs you. And he was so over, this person that told me this, Shane Morton, he said you were so over that grown men were crying because he had to leave town. Do you remember that?
Well, that was a different match there.
Okay.
The match that had to do with Beehive, it was me. I was going against Lee, and somehow or another, I had won the match. And about that time, I turned around, and Beehive was standing out on the floor. And when I turned around, she throwed me a chain. And when she throwed me that chain, she saw the referee saw it, Big Mike saw it, and so I got disqualified. The match got turned around, so Lee got to keep the I guess the title, or he won the match. And man, I went down on the floor, and I was chewing her out, and she was about crying and all this stuff. She was bawling, and I'm sorry this and I'm sorry that. And we thought that, we had her all believing that she was really the reason why I lost the match. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But, the loser Lee Town match was a match. It was Mule Day.
Okay.
And I was getting ready to go to Fort Sam Houston out San Antonio, and that's where I'm supposedly from. I have a ranch out there. I have a Learjet. I have limos. I have pastures out the wazoo. I have all kinds of cattle. I have all kinds of horses.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm from, San Antonio, Texas.
Nice.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, I won't.
And anyway, it come time. I was going to have to go to Sam Houston for medical school, and so I had to leave town. And we planned that match up, and it went great. I mean, me and Lee, we was having a big time. We had a guest referee. I don't know who he was, but man, we was having a big old show, and all of a sudden, Lee, he got me up in a like an airplane spin, and my big old feet hit that referee. He went down. Lee lost his balance. He went down. I landed on top of him, and the referee never looked up. He counted to 3, and man, the crowd, they was going crazy. They was just ecstatic that Lee was going to have to leave town.
Yeah.
And I rolled off of him. Well, when I did, Mad Max reached through the ring ropes, grabbed me by the trunks, and pulled me back. And Big Lee laid on me. Well, when the referee looked up, he saw Lee on top. Well, they gave the match to Lee.
Oh, man.
Boy, that's when the crowd went wild.
Yeah.
And they was screaming and hollering and all this other stuff. And man, it was crazy. And Lee was going to get to cut my hair, and I was going to have to leave town. And so he come out there, and come find out just before the match, my school got canceled. And so there wasn't no reason to cut my hair. But, I agreed to it. I signed the contract, and I had to get rid of my hair.
Man.
I got my hair cut 3 times that night.
3 times?
Yeah. They come out there, and they set that chair down in the center of that ring. And old Lee come out there. They had a extension cord and a set of electric slippers, and he'd fire them things up, and he'd start to cut my hair. And when he'd get the slippers close to my head, he'd quit. And he would slap on them a little bit, and he'd get them back to running. He'd start to cut my hair, and he'd quit. And he did that about 3 times. About that time, Mad Max come out there with a pair of scissors. And I thought Lee was Edward Scissorhands. They went chopping, my hair was flying all over. People was grabbing that mess up, putting it in bags.
Wow.
And taking that stuff home. So they got a live souvenir, I guess.
They got some DNA, man. Be careful.
I lost the match. I lost my hair. They made me bend over, and they wrote jackass up my back, and they made me leave town. Man. And the people was crying and saying, if I go, they going to go, and all this other stuff. And that was another good match. And then another one I had, if y'all got time.
Well, of course.
Yeah, keep going.
I was in a cage match, and 6-man cage match. And it was me, Freddie Morton, and Harold Cates. And I think it was Mephisto and Dante, and it might have been Mad Max in there with him. I can't remember.
Okay.
But anyway, we lost the match. And I think Freddie got they threw a fireball on him.
Oh, yeah.
And so they were in the ring, and the babies, they come out. They all went in there in the cage to assist Freddie. And while Freddie was out there or inside the ring and all the babies were in there, Billy Ray come out with a padlock, and he locked the cage door, and he was the only one that had the key. And I was on the microphone. I was giving them what for.
Okay.
About them, all that stuff, and
yeah.
And the next thing I know, the chairs came out.
Oh man!
And from my neck down, I felt like a T-ball pedestal.
Oh man!
And my head was the ball.
Oh man!
And the chair was the bat. And I got hit every which way but the right way, I think. They went on ahead. I got juiced, and I was okay with that. And I didn't realize what damage was done to me. And but this was the match where everybody was crying.
Gotcha.
Even the men were crying. I've got the video. It's on VHS. But anyway, they after the match was over, they had to mop the floors up.
Man,
it was so much blood, and the blood, it didn't come from my forehead. It came from the back of my head.
Did a chair catch you? Is that what happened?
Oh yeah,
man.
And it split the back of my head, and come to find out later on, it tore the retina in my left eye.
Holy cow, Billy!
And I had to go to Memphis to get my left eye put back together.
Did you see a retina specialist?
Yeah, Dr. Armstrong.
Man.
And he fixed me up, and so I couldn't take blows to the head no more. And people didn't like, cause if I was in a match and they wanted to use a chair, I'd take a back shot, but they ain't gonna hit me in the head no more. And I wasn't gonna go down of it.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that, man.
But I've got that one on video, and you could hear the crowd. They're in the background crying, and they're hollering. They're killing him. They're killing him.
Oh man!
It was bad night. But I'm on the microphone in a mask of blood, and that's one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah, I know that picture. I do. I think I saw it. Man, I've been digging through all your photos, and I think that's one of them that I saw, that you're kind of giving them what for, but you're also bleeding like a stuck pig.
Yeah.
But so was that the one that you left in an ambulance, or was this a totally different story?
That's a different one.
Wow, I love it.
I had fun times. The one about that, it was my title match. And my opponent was the one and only El Diablo.
El Diablo.
Mr. Kern. Me and Chris, we was. I already knew how the match was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's the way it goes. And man, I was tickled to death. I was having fun. Me and Chris, we was having a ball in there, and it was going great. And I'm not a high flyer. I like to keep my feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
This particular match, it was going great. We was having a big time in there, and everything's going real smooth. And all of a sudden, old Cowboy decided to climb up on he wasn't going to go to the top, so he went up on the second rope. And he's going to do a flying lariat on El Diablo. And when I hit him, my knees did a frog splash. I hit him with the lariat. My arm was across his chest, and my knees went sideways. One went left, and one went back. And I don't know what all it did to me, but I couldn't move. And so I couldn't straighten out. I couldn't move. And I kept trying to tell Chris, I'm hurt. And every time I'd tell him I'm hurt, pin me, he'd get up and start kicking on me some more. And he beat on me there for a while, and finally he come back down.
His own.
I said, Chris, you got to pin me. I said, I'm hurt, really. And he pinned me, and it was just dead silence in there. And because that wasn't the way it was supposed to win.
Right.
And but they he went down on the floor, and he did a spiel on the mic. He really, the more he talked, the madder they got, because I was up there being hurt, and of course they didn't really know, because they kept looking over. People kept looking over at my wife to see her reaction, see if it was real or not. And she didn't know either.
Yeah.
And while they were trying to get me out, Chris was down there on the mic. Boy, he was giving them what for about their champion and how sorry and all he was, and how he got the belt and all this stuff. And they next thing you know, Maury County pulled in down there, and they loaded me up on that stretcher and rolled me out. But that was for real. It cost me a lot of money that night. And then trying to think. I know I got another one I was going to tell you about. Oh,
please.
But I tell you, the whole time that I was in the business, and it was 14 years of it. It was one of my goals was to become a professional wrestler and to be a champion. And the last night I was there in Columbia, I come in, and this is kind of funny.
We like funny.
The night it was the night I worked Tony Falk, and that match was going good. Well, Lee Hickerson come out there beside the ring, and it kind of went south. Tony put a rope around my neck and threw me out of the ring and hung me. They pinned me up, and I'd get up on the ring apron and they'd kick me off of it. And so finally that match was over, and I went back to the dressing room, got somewhat cleaned up, and went up to my gimmick table. Well, there was this lady sitting up there in the crowd, and she started saying something. I looked over there, she was saying something to me, and I couldn't figure out what it was, so I got up, and I went over there. I said, "Ma'am," I said, "You say something to me?" And she had an old raspy voice. "Yeah, we said it killed you." I said, "Huh?" She said, "I wish they'd have killed you." I said, What I do to you?" She said, "I hate you damn guts." I said, "What I do to you?" She said, "Every time you come out that dressing room, I ask for your hat, I ask for your vest, I ask to hold your chaps, I ask to hold anything, and you just won't let me." Said, "You go around the ring and give it out to all them whores." I wish they killed you. I know it. I said, "Well," I said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry," But and I decided then. I said, "Well, people starting to hate time. It's time to do something."
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started working in the car rent, and worked for old Rodney Grimes down there for a little bit. I don't know if y'all know him or not.
Yeah.
And I wound up, I turned heel. I joined the Bass's Posse. I was working with Dirty Don Bass and Brickhouse Brown, and Jamie Dundee even got thrown in the mix some down there.
Oh yeah.
And, so I had a lot of fun. I worked Brickhouse quite a bit down there. I've had the opportunity to work several good names. People I watched on TV growing up, and then getting to work them in the ring. Some of them was Barry Harwood, Dirty White Boy.
Yeah.
Worked with Junkyard Kobe Ware. Worked with Tracy Smothers. Worked, like I said, with Bob and Scott. Another one I worked with was in Lawrenceburg at the Rotary, and it was one of my biggest nights. Was they teamed me up with Superstar Bill Dundee.
Man,
me and him we went against the Hickersons that night, and that was another good night. There's just so many matches. I mean, I could go on and on about my matches. They to me, each match was very important and very special to me. Whether I won or whether I lost, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And the way I looked at it, I lost a lot, But I always looked at it as I'll take a good screwing any time, because when it's time for me to raise that hand, they're gonna back me.
Yeah.
As long as they see they're good, their man, they see that I got cheated, they'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I had a lot of people ask me, did you ever have a chance to go to WCW or WWF or any of that? And I really didn't want to. The reason for that is this is the way I looked at it. If I was to go work for them, I'd be all they're going to do is job me. And I didn't think it looked too good for people to tune in and see their hometown champion, somebody that they really looked up to, go and be on TV and their match lasts 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it didn't really bother me that I never did go that far, because I enjoyed doing what I was doing. And I don't know. I just wanted to do it, have fun, and I did. I had a good time. Had a lot of pain at times, but man, I feel the pain now. I'm fixing to turn 65.
Man,
I've just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to go now to an arena and watch it.
Oh, I'm sure.
The reason for that is once it's in your blood, it's there. It's like a disease. You can't get rid of it. And my health ain't up to par to where I could take bumps, any of it. And if I go, it's going to make me want to get back in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I still got all my gear except for one thing. And I figured that if I ever got rid of them, I'd never buy another pair. And so I ain't got to worry about that. And that's my boots.
Yeah, I don't blame
Hung them
you.
up,
Hi, this is Mike Needham, host of the Reckless Abandon podcast with Mike Needham. We invite you to jump on your favorite podcast platform and search for the Reckless Abandon podcast and give us a listen. I'm sometimes joined by a part-time podcaster, part-time co-host, and full-time wife, Tiffany Nicole. We talk wrestling, we talk pop culture, we talk local events, local happenings in West Tennessee, and a ton of other stuff. But be sure to check out the Reckless Abandon podcast. Find us on Facebook. Also, look up the Microgroup Podcasting family on Facebook and see some of our other podcasts we have out there. Until next time, make good choices and always remember, no dollar, no dice.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews, sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com, and to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to USWApodcast.com.
Hey, it's the Heat Miser Scotty Blaze. Now I'm inviting all of y'all to join me on my brand new podcast, Turning Up the Heat with the Heat Miser Scotty Blaze. So what are you waiting for? Come on over and join me. I'll be covering all the events of the day, global, national, pop culture, movies, gaming, whatever sounds interesting. But I'll also be playing some awesome skating shuffle music from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Anything that has a good beat, I'm going to be playing it. You can rest assured. Come on over, TUTHradio.com. The podcast is on every major podcast platform. See you then.
All right, Bill, I want to backtrack a little bit because it kind of got me thinking on this, especially when the Luge League town in Columbia, because you said y'all had it set up to leave because you were actually going to go to school in Texas, and then that fell through. So what happened? Did you go somewhere else and work, or did they put you under a hood and bring you back? So what was the story after that? Because like I said, you wasn't going to come back because, you were leaving, but that fell through. So what was the story after that?
Well, after I had to leave Columbia.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to leave the area, but I still worked. I worked like Hohenwald, worked Winchester, worked places away from Columbia. And
gotcha.
The one night that I worked in Hohenwald, it was a big match. The Golden Boy, Chris Miller, was another protege from Lee and Billy Ray, and they had a match. They put a match with me and him against the Hickerson brothers, and so I go, and I'm there, and there's a bunch of fans from Columbia there.
Oh no!
And they said, Billy, you ain't supposed to be. You out of town. You had to leave town. I told him. I said, well, they had to leave Columbia. I said, but I went back out to San Antonio, Texas, where I went back out and checked on my ranch. I've been out there for a while, and I said I got a phone call from the Golden Boy saying that he's having trouble with the Hickerson brothers and he needed some help, and that he knew that I knew every move that they made, and I'd be able to help him, and he needed me to come help him. And I told him, I said, well, I jumped on my Learjet, flew into Musho's Airport, got my limo, drove up here to Hohenwald, Tennessee. And we had the match.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. I like that.
I went back to Musho's, got back on my Learjet, and I flew back home.
That's quick thinking right there.
That's San Antonio.
Yeah.
So that's, it was a while before I did get to come back to Columbia. But after I came back to Columbia, it wasn't, other people had done come in and became fan favorites, and I was kind of washed, I guess. And that's when, I guess that was my last match, was when I come in up there and worked Tony. And so that, I think that kind of ended my tenure there up at the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier about Barry Windham being your mentor and everything. Tell us a little bit more about that. I'm such a fan of his. It's that family is just one of wrestling's great families. And love to hear more about that.
Well, I just kind of just his style and stuff. Him and Kendall and Blackjack Mulligan, they just all impressed me, and I really liked them growing up.
Gotcha. Okay.
Blackjack being the dad, and then when Barry got into WCW, and I don't know, I just kind of always liked the cowboy gimmick.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Love that gimmick.
Yeah.
He was an influence on you then. That's cool.
It's been an experience, and I still enjoy it. I like going to the reunions, and I like seeing all my buddies, and I've lost quite a few, and the bunch that I worked all with at the Grand Slam, there ain't many of us left.
That's sad.
And but
yeah, losing too many guys now, it's just we've lost so many with Hot Rod and Matt Dillinger, and then now we've lost Slacker J, and I know there's many more of the guys you worked with that are now gone to the big ring in the sky. It's that's what makes those reunions so important. That's really what makes spending time with your people and your friends and your peers as much as possible. That's why, we're big time supporters of all the reunions that go on that Shane, helps put on. So,
yeah, it's very important. The last few that they've had in May, I've been out of town going. was going to Jeep Jam.
Okay. Yeah.
And, it would always be the same weekend at the reunion. Well, this year we decided not to go to Jeep Jam, and I told my wife Elaine that I wanted to definitely be at this reunion. And there, and it's you never know.
You never know. You're exactly right. Yeah.
Things good, and it seems like every time you turn around, somebody else's health is going down, and it just, I don't know. It's we ain't getting no younger.
No, we're not. So we do have some kind of quick questions that we ask that are, some of our patented quick questions that we like to ask. But before we get there, Quinton, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask as far as like open discussion type stuff?
You were talking about Thurman Dolan earlier. Thurman used to come to the reunions when they first started having them. So when's the last time you talked to Thurman, and how's he doing?
I cannot tell a lie. He kind of got out of the picture. He got some bad health and just kind of disconnected from everybody. Every time I see Rick Singleton or Wade Gann, I'd ask about him. I probably haven't talked to him since Danny passed away, and so I don't know. I don't want to tell you one thing that not be the right thing.
Right, I understand. Yeah.
So Thurman. I never met him till the reunions, those first reunions. He was always really nice guy to talk to.
Oh yeah, he was a great guy to work for, and he runs shows here around my hometown where I live, and they were some good shows, made good, and big crowds, and we'd run at the Coliseum over there in Florence, and had big crowds. That reminds me of another match right quick. We was doing a match in the Falls County Anywhere, and I think it was me and the Golden Boy against Lee, of course, Lee and Billy Ray, and it wound up out on the floor. Well, part of it wound up on the floor, and I think I was in there against Lee. Well, one of them, can't remember if it was Mephisto or Dante, whichever, the one that likes to throw the fireball.
That was Dante.
Okay. All right. Wasn't Breeze. Anyway, we was in the ring, and he come out and he threw the fireball on me. And man, I was burning. I was rolling all over it, so I looked like a fish on land. Boy, the crowd, they was into it. Well, there was one feller there, and he was actually my cousin. He's special needs. He's 2 years older than I am. He's about 6'6", weighs about 275.
Wow.
Well, Cuz is up there in that ring, and he's hurt. Okay, you follow me?
Yep.
All right, Big Cuz sitting ringside, decides to come across the barrier.
Oh man!
So he comes across and he sees Cuz hurt up there. Well, he's gonna hurt somebody.
Oh man!
Billy Ray's coming around the ring backwards. My cousin has got his big feet and that right hand cocked back, ready to clean Billy Ray's plow for real.
Wow.
Two county deputies hooked him, one on each arm. They carried him out, and that was I had to do some talking to my cousin. He's a big old boy.
I'd say.
Ray.
Yeah. A 6'6" man weighing 300, determined. Are you telling me that those deputies earned their dollar that night for sure, man? So.
Well, he had a mind of a child.
Yeah, right.
And so, but ain't nobody gonna hurt Cuz and get away with it.
Right. Heck, man, you need him as your heater, brother. You just keep him in your corner as your heater.
But But that was just another one popped up in my mind.
Yeah.
That was one of Thurman's shows we run. He run at the Florence Lauderdale Coliseum. The building's still there, but they don't have matches no more.
Yeah.
And but it's all been good.
That's good, man. Well, we got some quick questions for you here. These are our patented "Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling" quick questions.
I hope they ain't too quick because my brain's a little slow.
No, they're not that quick.
So Billy, if you could give your younger self some advice, your current self could give your younger self some advice, what would you tell yourself?
Get in the business earlier and pay attention. I was like 30 years old when I got started.
Man, I should have started then, brother. I was almost that age when I got started, man. But I just knew that, to me, I didn't feel like I had the athletic ability to do what I wanted to do. So I just kind of went with the manager. But I respect that, brother. That is awesome, especially at 30. A lot of guys are like, man, I'm already beat up by 30. So getting in at 30, but I respect that. You got to respect that, man. I mean, one of the, probably, I don't know that he's the greatest of all time in ring, but one of the greatest of all time started that late too, was DDP, and he's turned a huge career, and I would never say he's like a Ric Flair or Harley Race, but he had some big money years for sure, so. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is there any, did you ever have like a pre-match routine or something that you did every time before a match? Like, drinking something, eating something, like me, I always put on my knee braces first, and I always put my right on, then my left. Then I'd put my right foot on the left. So did you have any kind of little quirky things like that?
No, I didn't do nothing like that. I just let my music psych me up, I guess. I didn't have no rabbit's foot routine or something like that. I know what I want to say, but I always made sure I went to the bathroom.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's an important thing for sure. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Well, I was afraid to take a backdrop, and
right,
I'd clear the crowd. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a very good routine to have. Then, yeah.
TMI.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to take this next one. What are some, and maybe it's like seeing that the veteran you became, and then you see current wrestling, especially if it's independent or on TV, whatever. What are some of you, even back then, what are some of your wrestling pet peeves that happened? Like you just run all over you when you saw it?
My biggest pet peeve was asking somebody or somebody's going to work you and they start telling you what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And the moves that they're going to make or try, and ask you, I'd always ask them, well, have you ever tried it? Have you ever done it? And they would, well, I seen it on TV. Well, what you seen on TV, you ain't going to do it on me. And if they, if they would start going off whatever, it just turned into a tiger match.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to start throwing them Billy Montana haymakers, and next time when you want to work against me, then we'll do it the way it's supposed to be, not what you think you can do. You're not going to experiment on me.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm old for that stuff. That's my biggest thing. They watch TV and they think they can do it from the TV, and you're going to hurt somebody. So
yeah,
that's my biggest peeve.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's a good one for sure.
All right, Billy. If you had one more match, who would it be and where would it be at?
One more match. Who would it be?
Living or dead?
And it don't have to be living. It could be somebody that's done passed away, your past or
Yeah.
Or somebody you never wrestled for, you always wanted to, you didn't, it could be anybody.
Oh boy. That's a tough one. I had a lot of great matches with him, and had a lot of fun. Learned a lot from him. I'd like to go against Lee one more time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And where would you like that to be?
The big place, Madison Square.
I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So if you could have a pause button on your life or a rewind button on your life, so you can pause right now and live fully in the moment, or you can rewind and do it all again, what would you choose?
I'd rewind it and do it all again.
Just to experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I would learn a lot better.
Okay.
I would hone my skills a whole lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I mean, hindsight is 20/20, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I wasn't a good listener, then I would have been in bad trouble.
Yeah.
I would probably been a tarnished penny.
Tarnished penny. I like that.
All my opponents made me look like new money.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
There was a opponent that didn't make you look like new money, and that was me. I mean, you worked in, I want to say, March of '92 in Columbia. I had no clue what I was doing, and yeah, so I didn't make you look like new money that night because I need somebody to carry me, and yeah. So I was probably the one guy that didn't make you look like new money.
Were you a part of the carload of 5 that night?
It was 3 of us.
Was it 3?
3 of us come up.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a carload of 3 of us that came up one night, and yeah, they didn't invite us back. I didn't get back to Columbia for years.
Okay.
I'd been on work for a couple months.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up.
I only working a few months. I had no idea what I was doing. Actually, I shouldn't have been in there, but they booked me, so I went, and yeah, they didn't tell me to come back. So
you got to learn somehow. If
it means on the body slam that I gave you,
I don't remember anything about the match. I just remember that I was horrible. I was rotten.
Yeah, I love you, brother.
I shouldn't have been there. Nothing to do with you. I was not ready to be in there, and so yeah. Yeah. It's obvious. They brought you back. You kept coming back. I didn't come back for about a year and a half. So it obvious it was me.
You could definitely call that a green match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Color green. Yeah, that's a green match.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, okay. So here, what was your official last match, Billy?
Oh, my official last match.
Yeah. Or have you had it?
I like to say I have.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I've been asked to come back to do a match, and the person asked me what would it take to get me back in the ring for one more match, and I told her $1,000, and she said I can't afford that, and I said I can't wrestle.
Hey, I like that though. That's good.
If you want me to work, you're gonna pay me.
Yeah.
And I ain't worth that much.
Right. Right.
My last match. That's back in 2004.
Okay.
I can't. They say great events paid for man's memory. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
That's probably one event that's faded from my memory.
I got you. Understand. Yeah.
I don't know when it was.
Okay.
It was against. It was over here in Sheffield at the rec center, and it was against Bulldog Range.
Okay. Bulldog brains. Okay. Oh, bulldog brains is what they call it. Bullfrog brains. I've heard people call him that. Maybe Jamie calls him that or something, but yeah.
I'll tell you about that match a little bit.
Sure.
I was all excited about it, and me and a buddy of mine went to a gym that morning. Told him I'd work, but I didn't want to work legs.
Yeah, okay.
And wound up, I worked legs so hard that it made me sick.
Oh, man.
Well, got ready for the match that night, and I told him, I said, I can't. I said, my legs are shot. I can't lift you. I can't do nothing. And he said, all right. He said, we'll make it go. I said, okay. And so we was wrestling around in there in the ring, and all of a sudden he's going to shoot me in the turnbuckle. And just before I got to the turnbuckle, my legs buckled on me, gave out, and I went head first into the middle turnbuckle.
Man.
And then,
Ouch.
yeah, and then I was going to do he wanted me to do a backdrop. So I tried. When I went up with him, he sandwiched me on that mat. And that was it. So that was it.
Man, well.
I think that was probably my last match.
Okay.
That was your last match. Do you have a favorite match you ever had?
My favorite match? Oh, man. They all was.
Okay.
Except for the one with me.
You too, Bubba. They was all good. I enjoyed every match I was in.
Well, that's great. That's good.
I mean, I can't specify just one. So I'm going to say all of them. We worked Taft, Tennessee one night, and I went against Scorpion, and that was the worst beatdown I ever had. I mean, I hit him with everything I had, and it wouldn't budge. He was a monster, and he beat me down, and of course he won the match. And but they come back. They had a 6-man tag. It was me and Airwolf or Wolfie, and I think it was Chris Miller against Pete Medic, and I can't remember who their third partner was. But anyway, we had the match, and the ending that they shot us in the ring ropes, and we come off, and we was gonna do they was gonna backdrop all three of us at the same time, and we all three did sunset flips on them and rolled them up for pins. So I redeemed myself that night.
That's awesome. I mean, it's what you got to do, and I guess that's probably what makes it your favorite match too.
But that's just one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, every match it was good.
That's
working them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Quinton, I bet you can't say every match is your favorite match, right?
No, I've had some stinkers.
But I think what Billy's saying is the perspective of he loved it all because the whole trip, the whole journey was awesome. And I mean, that I agree with that too, with my little 2-3 years in the business. I mean, that they're all great. I have some favorites, but they're all great. And I love that. I think that you just take the whole combination, good to bad, and you loved it all. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's easy.
Yeah. I told you at the reunion, my ordeal is kind of plain and simple.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with that. That's plain and simple is great, man. I mean, we appreciate that. I mean, I guess I do want to say this. You know, when we talked to you at the reunion, I had already asked you before that, though, right? I'd already asked you. I sent you a message talking to you about coming on the podcast because I was putting together a list, and I've got guys coming around me, and then Ben Jordan. I said, hey, man, this Billy Montana guy's in this card set, and I talked to Ben Jordan and Steve BOWTIE and Shane and everybody about you. And I was like, man, I want to get the guys on this card set, the ones that are still with us, you know, and everybody was like, well, Billy would be a good one. And then, so I know I asked you before that, but then we got together at the reunion and I got your info. And so now we've finally made it happen. It's still in 2024, even didn't take a whole year, but I do apologize it took as long as it did. But we definitely appreciate you being on, Billy, and telling your story, man.
Oh, it's it's been an honor and a privilege, and I just it's a blessing that I had. That I'm just glad I shared it, and hope it didn't bore everybody too much.
No,
absolutely not. Been great.
No,
yeah,
and I always tell people that I always tell them, you know when you're famous is when you wind up on a collectible card.
exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I mean, you know. Hey, and you know what's funny is I was recently at the Memphis Hall of Fame in Jackson, Tennessee, September 21st, and I get there and I've got a few of the cards with me because I knew Ben was going to be with me, so I got Ben to sign his, and I saw Steve Neely there for a second. He signed his, and I got Ricky Morton to sign it, and Ricky was like, "Man, you know, I hate to sign this because it's worth $20 now, but once I sign it, it'll be worth $100." And I'm like, "Well, Ricky, I can't. You know, it's my card." so it's kind of cool that you were in that set too, man, because it really gave a good representation of that little scene right there, and I treasure that card set. You know, I really do.
It's very important to me. I've got it. In fact, I got 2 or 3 sets of it, and
yeah. I
look back, you know, and I see my brothers Lee and Billy Ray, Chris Champion, Pete's gone.
Yeah.
Just, you know, several of them, and I just
Hot Rod's gone now, and everybody. I mean, it's just. It makes me so angry because I had the card set and Hot Rod was right there and I didn't get it, and I'm upset about that. But I didn't have the card set with me. It's no excuse. I should have brought it, but I'm not going to miss any opportunities to get any of your autographs now because I want as many of the people as I can get to autograph it as I can. And it's a cool set. It's got the Ricky Morton. It's got a Jeff and Dominique. It's got a Quinton, right? Aren't you in it, Quinton?
Yeah, it's me. Me, Marcus, and the Black Dragon are the foundation. Yeah,
that's and then you got, of course, Billy, and then you've got Boogie and Ben Jordan and Steve Neely, and I mean you got that Fireball. Dante's Fireball even got its own card. So I don't know how I'm gonna get that autograph, but we'll figure that out. But I mean, there's so many great guys, and I just really, I mean, I know it was a little. It had to feel cool. This is a final question, I think, here. We're going to throw it out here. How did it feel when you got that card?
When I got the card, it's kind of like being back in the dressing room.
Yeah.
And you hear your music start up, and you hear the crowd clapping, and they're on their feet giving you an ovation. And before you even come out that door, just have chills running from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And to see that card and that is an honor to be amongst the other guys that are in there, because to me, I didn't deserve any of that stuff. I didn't deserve championship. I didn't deserve the card. I was just glad to be there.
Yeah.
And it's see that card and to be presented with the rest of the gang, I mean, it was an honor. It just sends chills. It's just like every time I hear "Heaven Ain't like Dixie."
Yeah.
Chills.
Yeah.
You know? So that's the only feeling I can give you.
That's cool. What about you, Quinton?
Okay, on that, we were in the dressing room. I almost say it was Lewisburg, and Steve Bryant come up to us and was talking to us about it, and now, you know, and he's talking to all the boys and everything, and he said, "Okay, I want everybody to write down their information." And I looked, and he said, "I need you too." And I was thinking, "There's no way I'm gonna be in one of these cards, you know." And
right.
I was still, out of all the people in there, I was the greenest one, you know. And I was thinking, yeah, and it ain't gonna happen, but I'll do it. So I wrote some stuff down anyway, and then when they came out, she was like, "Hey, here's he gave." I think he gave me the whole pack. I can't remember. And I remember I opened it up. He said, "You're in there," and I thought, "Oh, he's ripping me," you know. And I started flipping through there, and I, you know, all these guys, you know, all the top guys in the area, you know. And so I kept flipping, and then I got toward the end, and I saw mine, and I was like, "Holy crap, I'm actually in this thing," you know. And it just, like, and it, you know, it really made me think, like, wow, I'm in all these guys that, in this area that's top guys and, over and everything. And I'm thinking, wow, this is all, I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe that, I actually was in it, and still to this day, I look back and it's like, at that time period, I shouldn't have been in there. I definitely shouldn't. Cause like I said, I was the greenest one in that whole thing. And I was happy, proud, and yeah, it was awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a little bonus feature of this podcast today is we got a little take on the Unbeatables trading card set. So, hey, by the way, if y'all want to get a set of those and you haven't got them already, give us a contact at GMBMPW and we'll get you in touch with Steve Bowtie Bryant. Or you can just find Steve Bowtie Bryant and contact him. It's in the commercial at the start of the show. Once you listen to this whole episode and go back and listen to it again and write down his email and he'll get you a set of that. I know he's got some for sale, and that's the whole reason we play that commercial. But the whole reason of today's show was to talk to Cowboy Billy Montana. And Billy, it's been a true pleasure and honor, and I'm so glad we finally got this done and you on the show, man. So thank you so much for coming on, brother. We really appreciate you.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege, and it's just a blessing to me to talk to you guys and reminisce about old times. I don't have many people to talk to about this stuff, and that really understands. And I guess we're a unique breed or something. But, it's been a privilege and a pleasure, and I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Billy. That means a lot. Yeah,
I've enjoyed the film.
Yeah,
enjoyed it, buddy.
It's good talking to you, Billy.
It's good talking to you too, Quinton.
All right. Well, that is all for today's podcast. Thank you one more time, Cowboy Billy Montana. We'll be right back with Quinton and the Plastic Sheik to wrap things up on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
This is your rock star ring announcer, Aaron Camaro. I'm a man who believes the two greatest art forms ever created are professional wrestling and heavy rock music. So when I'm not hosting the best parties that also happen to be live professional wrestling shows, I'm hosting the Decibel Geek Podcast. Decibel Geek is a weekly podcast that features discussions of all things rock. We're talking the Beatles, the Stones, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Black Sabbath, Kiss, Ozzy, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Alice in Chains, Pantera, and everything in between. Plus, we'll turn you on to new bands from today that have the same spirit and style that the legends do. Decibel Geek is hosted by myself along with Rockin' Pod founder Chris Sinzak, and each week you'll get interviews with famous musicians and industry insiders along with informative, entertaining, humorous, and insightful discussions, and most importantly, a passion for the music. So if you love to rock out as much as I do, then this is your invitation to the greatest rock and roll party in all of podcasting. It's Decibel Geek, and it's available right now on all major podcast platforms. Oh yeah.
All right, man, that was a great show, guys. What'd y'all think? Cowboy Billy Montana, great stories. You know, he had some stories up his sleeve that we didn't even know, man.
Yeah, man, it was great. I was glad to hear him. I was glad to talk to him. It was, met him briefly, like you said, at the Right Way reunion in May, but it was good to get to hear some of his stories and talk a little more to him.
Yeah, definitely. I was happy that we can make that happen. And like I said, it was just cool to hear his stories, man. Did you learn anything new from him today, Quinton?
Yeah, because I did, because I've always thought that, that Lee and Billy Ray Hickerson, the one that broke him in, so that's why I thought, so I learned that they actually didn't, because when I came around, they were he was like those three. You saw them all when you usually saw, there's always those three guys. The Hickersons are always healed, and Billy was the baby face. You always seen them in places. So I learned that. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I learned a whole lot. There's some great stories, especially. I like that one that he told about the fan getting mad that he had never, when he was walking down the aisle, he never gave her his jacket or his chaps or his hat or anything. She was cussing him out. That was awesome. So, and he knew that it was time to turn heel. Yeah. Well, I appreciate y'all, Jared. I think you might have some Plastic Sheik news for us, right?
Action figure.
Yeah, very exciting for me as a huge fan, but the major, I guess it's part of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, part of their figure lines, the big rubber guys, which are like the LJN figures, they got a nice set. You're gonna want to look at, Jimmy. It's the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky and Robert.
I know. They look awesome. Yeah.
Supposed to ship you can pre-order them, I think, through this month on their website.
Yeah. And
then I think they ship in May, and their shipping's been pretty spot on when they tell. I've ordered some of the last 3 or 4 orders they've had, and they came pretty quick. So.
That's cool.
Or as far as when they tell you they're coming there, it's usually 4 to 5 months out. But I understand that they're probably producing mainly what they're going to sell, and it's pretty nice to have that. But I always, me and you, huge Rock and Roll Express marks. I'm the Robert Gibson to your Ricky Morton, so we'll take that. But they look good. Robert's wearing one of the. In the figure, he's wearing like the black T-shirt with kind of like the fireworks in the background. Mm-hmm. One of their old school shirts. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, they look great. And the only thing I don't like about them is the price.
Oh yeah, the price. You gotta be in the kind of collector mind if you're doing that. Like I am. So it's. They also have Bad News Allen, Bad News Brown. Most people probably know him as Bad News Brown from. WWF, but he was also Bad News Allen. I think maybe he started in Stampede Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that.
Something like that. Well, he was like a judo Olympian or something.
Right. Well, that's true too. Yeah. And then he was, and I think he started maybe got his wrestling start in Stampede, but I might be mistaken about that. So I'm not an expert like Quinton is on stuff like that. So.
Well, I do think it was Stampede, but I do, the cool thing about him is he would have actually had an LJN if he didn't already. Did he?
Well, no, he did not have one, but he was supposedly in that next line to come out. And that was going to have like Brother Love, the Barbarian, was it maybe the Bushwhackers, and maybe the other one of Demolition.
Okay. Well, they're completing all those, aren't they, then?
Yeah. I mean, I got the more speaking Plastic Sheik news. I did get, speaking from this set, I got Dusty Rhodes and the Powers of Pain today. So
nice.
In the mail. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. We need to start reenacting some old Crockett scenes there.
Absolutely. Get the bench press scene when I get the Road Warriors eventually.
Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah. So, but anyway, those look cool, man. I'm excited you got those, and I can't wait to see the Ricky and Robert too. Those will be cool too. So, I'm sure that'll be a little while before they come out, but when they are, you'll hear all about it. And the best place to hear about it is where?
Right here.
At GMBMPW or right here. Yeah.
But I've just got a question. I'm wanting to know if these beat the Power Town Rock and Roll Express figures to shipping. So
I almost wonder if that's a competition they're doing now, like I bet we can get them out sooner, but we'll see. Well, either way, hopefully we'll get some pictures and we'll post them for y'all on the at GMBMPW social media pages. That's on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Still pushing for 1,000 on YouTube. But guys, I just really want to say something here. Listener out there, we totally survive totally survive on you guys listening to us. And we greatly appreciate for the ones that already do. But if you have somebody that you think might dig the show, I know Shane Morton has done this a million times, so follow his lead on this. But if you think of someone that might enjoy the podcast that isn't listening or doesn't know about us, you, the listener, we're asking you all to tell somebody about the podcast. Let them know, hey, say these guys, they got a show they're putting on, and they, have all our, friends from the Middle Tennessee area and further out. We're trying to go even further with that too. And, just tell somebody about the show. It would really help us out. And, like I said, we're still pushing for 1,000 on YouTube, but also we need more followers on our Instagram, on our Twitter, on our Facebook. I mean, we need all of it. So just tell somebody about it, share it, like it, support it. Whatever you can do, we greatly appreciate it, and it means the world to us. And honestly, it's the best place to find out about all the upcoming news that we have and see cool things like what the Plastic Sheik talked about there, see all these great ideas that we got coming down the pike for the podcast. It really means a lot, and we greatly appreciate that. But most of all, we appreciate you for listening, and we want to thank you for that. Well, I guess for that, we're going to see y'all next time on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. For Cowboy Billy Montana, this has been the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street, Quinton Quarisma, and me, myself, Jimmy Street, and we are Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. We'll see y'all next time.
Don't forget.
If heaven ain't a lot like Dixie, I don't want to go. If heaven ain't a lot like Dixie, I just as soon stay home.
With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life.
We'll see you later.
This has been a James Rock Street production.